I am obsessed right now. Obsessed with Atreus and Hook 'em Horns. You kill me every time you do that. Oh my gosh.
Sylina realizes her true battle has been with herself and it wasn't just the external forces. So I think that battle of inner self and who you are was my remedy.
Salt circle therapy was Whitney therapy as well. I still don't really understand the whole stick your fingers in a bowl of salt thing, but it's fine. You do what you gotta do, Arachessen. It's cool.
Listen, they did a lot of things that confused me. That was probably the least of my worries.
Good point. Very good point. Hi, and welcome to Romantasy Remedy. I'm Whitney.
And I'm Kenzie. We're sisters-in-law and book besties who thrive on daily doses of magic and romance from our favorite fantasy stories.
So, if your emotional support animal is a dragon and your therapist has shadow powers, you're in the right place. Thanks for being here and for liking, rating, and following our show.
Before we get started, this is our official content warning. Simply put, Romantasy Remedy is a podcast for grown-ups. The topics and language will reflect that. Please listen at your comfort level.
And one more thing before we dive into Slaying the Vampire Conqueror by Carissa Broadbent, our spoiler warning. For most of the episode, there will only be spoilers for chapters 42 through 51. But at the end of today's episode, we will have our Spoiler Central segment, where we make connections to events later in the book and the entire Crowns of Nyaxia series. Don't worry, we'll give another big warning or two before Spoiler Central begins.
Thanks, Whit. One of our goals at Romantasy Remedy is to highlight how books in this genre inspire readers. When we see characters facing fears, overcoming challenges, and growing into their potential, it helps us to do the same. So each week, we'll choose a quote from the chapters we read to be an affirmation, a phrase to empower and motivate us. This week's affirmation says, "The fight will always be worth it." We base this affirmation on words spoken by Sylina. At this moment in the book, Sylina is feeling grateful for the progress her brother has made and considering what his future will be like. The direct quote reads, "All of this, I understood now, was a journey. Nero would have to fight for his health and his sobriety for the rest of his life. Glea would have to fight for a better version of itself. Vampires and humans would have to fight to figure out how to coexist. Atreus would have to fight for the trust of his human people, and I would have to fight for my battles too, step by step. None of it would be easy. None of it would be simple. But that night, watching my brother talk, looking so much like the boy I had thought I lost so long ago, I thought, it's worth it. The fight will always be worth it." So good.
We love that one.
It was. We love this because we all have times when we need the reminder that sometimes life is a battle and sometimes the battle is slow and complicated. But for the right things, it is always, always worth it. What do you think, Whit?
Love that affirmation. And I love this whole little moment Sylina has with her brother where she just gets to sit back and enjoy where he's at and the progress he's made, and she gets to have this hope for his future. It's such a beautiful moment and a great reminder, though, that life is hard. Sometimes I feel like my brain does this thing where when there's a problem or resistance or challenge, my brain is like, oh no, this shouldn't be this way, but actually it should. That is
Right.
just how life is. Sometimes it is a battle and it's hard and you have to fight a little bit. And so
For
I like
sure.
this affirmation. The fight is worth it. It's worth struggling. It's worth
Yes.
fighting for the things that are important. So
Yep.
I like it.
Agreed.
I like it a lot.
It reminds me of my daughter. We've talked about her struggles with reading and we've been working through it. And she'll tell me some nights when we're doing some of her words that it's hard. And I've had to remind her, yep, it's hard, but hard doesn't mean it's bad. It, sometimes that
Yes.
struggle develops us and makes us grow into something more. So hard doesn't always mean bad.
Right. You have to learn that you can do hard things, right?
Yes. Yes.
The sooner you lean into that and embrace it, I feel like the better.
Yes. The fight will always be worth it.
Love it.
So keep listening to hear about more moments from these chapters that either inspired, healed, humored, or wooed us. But before we get to that, Whitney is going to recap what happened in this week's section of chapters.
All right, here we go. I feel like I need to warm up to get into this one. So many
Crack your
things happen.
knuckles.
Exactly. Exactly. All right. So Atreus's army gets ambushed, and Ericus is like, I got this. Go kill the king. Icon behavior. Atreus and Sylina roll up to the palace, and it's too quiet. Red flag. Inside, the Pethera king is basically a creepy corpse puppet, and surprise, the Sight Mother is the one pulling the strings. This woman said plot twist and meant it. She's been secretly running things for generations. I hate her. Um,
We all had a feeling about her for a
I
reason.
know. Sight mommy. She's the worst. She's about to kill Atreus, but Sylina goes, wait, what if we don't waste a hot god-touched vampire and instead sacrifice him properly? The Sight Mother's like, you know what? Great point. Then immediately knocks Sylina out. Rude. Sylina wakes up in the Salt Keep, gets forced into a weird dinner date with a drunk, oversharing Sight Mother who just keeps revealing worse and worse betrayals, and then, boom, it's sacrifice time. Roof scene. Atreus, Ericus, and friends are all tied up. Cult vibes are immaculate. Sight Mother hands Sylina the dagger, like, do the thing. Instead, Sylina frees Atreus, hands him the blade, and he immediately slits the Sight Mother's throat. King behavior. And because one goddess wasn't enough, Nyaxia and Acacia both show up. Nyaxia is pleased. Acacia, not so much. Someone has to pay, so Sylina volunteers herself, as one does. But Acacia decides that Sylina is more useful alive. Nyaxia removes Atreus's curse, finally, but leaves the horns because aesthetic, I guess.
All right.
Sylina wakes up again in the Salt Keep, and Atreus is like, I'm not killing you. I know you, Vivi. Book boyfriend award goes to Atreus. Sylina then hosts a group therapy session with the remaining Arachessen sisters. Some join her, some, hi Asha, stay in denial. Progress. Fast forward, Versailles becomes the new capital. Naro is alive. We love a survivor. And Atreus redecorates Tarquin's palace into a cozy little romance HQ, complete with a painting nook. And yes, the Conqueror and the Seer finally get their soft, romantic, silken sheets moment and drop the L word. War, yep. Betrayal, yes. Gods, yes. But also happily ever after vibes unlocked. In conclusion, the witch is dead, Acacia and Nyaxia are sus, and Atreus is still the best.
Love it. And it's so true. He is the best. I was so happy to explore this book, and I'm so sad that it's already the end. We just started it. Yeah,
I
so
know, I
sad.
know. It's been so much fun. I have mentioned to you just in our texts and conversations that I have never not liked this book, and I've never not liked Atreus, but I am obsessed right now. Obsessed with Atreus, obsessed with Slaying the Vampire Conqueror. It is so good. I'm here for it.
It warms
So
my
good.
little heart. Yes, you've been
Good.
converted to Atreus. I love it. Well,
Hit
I
them
want to talk.
horns.
You kill me every time you do that. Oh my gosh.
It's like the most perfect thing for him. The horns. I can't.
So
I'm
funny.
okay with it now.
I know.
Fine.
And of course, Nyaxia.
Used to be a block for me, like a mental block. I couldn't get past it, but now I'm like here for it. Let's just
like,
embrace
yes.
the horns.
So funny. Well, I'm going to jump into it because I have a lot on my mind as far as the remedy I want to share. But my remedy,
I can't wait.
It's going to be a lot, so bear with me because my remedy for this stretch of chapters actually starts back in chapter 21. So,
so we're doing
follow
like
me with that.
An evolution, an arc.
Yes.
I'm here for it, Ken.
Yes, because I think like it crescendos at the end of the book, right? So I'm going to take us back. We're going back in time. When Atreus and Sylina arrive at the Thorn Castle to confront Tarquin, and we discover her brother Nero. And it is there that he calls her by her true name. And when we discover what her true name is, Vivi, right? And this moment starts the shift in how Sylina sees herself. Okay, so for a couple episodes ago, we understand like it is not a happy reunion between Nero and Vivi, I should say, right? She actually says, I've been so quick to throw Vivi away. So I think she begins to reevaluate her identity in this moment. Meryl was addicted to that pethera seed, and so they had
Yes.
to knock him out. And so she really didn't get a moment to speak to her brother until a couple days later when he was able to reawaken and stuff. And she said this to her brother, and it made me so sad. He starts by going, Vivi, he whispered. I should have corrected him. Vivi doesn't exist anymore. My name is Sylina. But the word stuck in my throat. Being here next to my big brother made me Vivi again. So
Oh.
true name is out. And I actually love it because right after that happens, it turns sour in that moment too. Like he's like, I can't believe you're part of the Arachessen and all this. And so she goes and she's kind of venting in a way to Atreus, and he validates her because he actually makes a comment about her name suiting her. And I love that.
Oh. I
And it
love that
shows,
too.
made me my heart so happy for her. And it validates that he's seeing all sides of her, not just like the woman she's grown into, the woman he knows, but also the child she once was. And she is still in turmoil at this point because she talks about how her realities are in contradiction because she's Sylina the Arachessen, but then she's been given this task of killing Atreus, right? So now she's Sylina the seer, but now her brother comes in the mix and she's also Vivi the lost little girl. So, okay, we've got
A lot
all
going
that.
on. Talk
Lots
about
going
like
on.
mixed emotions
Yes.
happening. Goodness.
Yes, she actually says the pieces of myself didn't fit together. They were ugly contradictions. And that's a lot of inner turmoil going on with all the outward turmoil going on around her.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
That's hard because it's almost like her whole life has been trying to be whatever version she's being told she has to be.
right,
Like the Arachessen version. Oh, now you're going to be like the seer or whatever you have to be for whatever mission. And she's not ever been given permission to just be whoever she is, like
right,
whoever Vivi is.
right.
So this would be really difficult to feel all of those things colliding.
For sure. So now we're going to fast forward. We're getting ready to go to Veritas. And if you remember, while they were kind of preparing the ship and stuff, the Sight Mother makes her lovely appearance and basically tells Sylina, like, it's the time, go ahead and kill him. And she gives her a dagger. She begins to reconcile with her past, and that includes also her loyalties and her identity that's kind of been shaken, right? And she
Mm-hmm.
actually says this, I'd been so quick to throw away Vivi, but I hadn't known then that I was throwing away Nero too. I thought Nero was already gone. Never once had I questioned my vows to the Arachessen, not until now. So this is when we see the big shift, right? And
Yes.
so I love that Nero is the one who Carissa Broadbent used to bring back her past self. I love that she used her brother. But now we're going to make a shift into Atreus using her name. Okay. So we know they go to the island, explosions, it's terrible. But there was a moment where Sylina was injured, right? And
Mm-hmm.
Atreus, he's in this battle and he has all these other people there to worry about, but he goes straight to Sylina. He says, Sylina, Atreus was saying to me, stay right here, stay right here. And then closer to my ear, Vivi, stay right here. I love that as the book goes on, we see him using her name more and more and more and calling her true name. And I think
Yeah.
that's awesome. So,
Yes. It's interesting that he doesn't even hesitate to do
oh,
it. Like,
right.
he doesn't wait for her to give permission, like, to say, oh, call me Vivi. He just
Yeah.
starts using that name. Like, he just
Yes.
seems to innately know, like, this is who you are. I'm going to call
Right.
you
I'm going to
Vivi.
call you
So,
Vivi. Yes.
mm-hmm.
It suits you. Yeah. I love it. Like you talked about in last week's episode, there's a ton of chaos after Veritas because now you have all these wounded soldiers and all these things. But there was a moment too where Tris kind of gave a order in Obertrain, and she mentioned that she knew what he was saying right away and basically saying kill them all because kill them all. And she kind of mirrored that when she said, I thought, yes, kill them all. And I did not think of the Arachessen or the Sight Mother or the Blessed Dagger or Acacia at all. So I think this is starting to show her independence and the shift from following orders to now she's following her own judgment, right?
Yes, I actually love that you highlighted this quote because it's one that really stood out to me in that chapter. Just how she is so certain that the correct thing to do is to kill them all. And like she is finally operating based on her own moral compass
Yes.
instead of what would the site mother want me to do? What would a good
Right.
Arachessen say or do?
Right.
She just is so certain here and so sure, like, of what the right thing to do is, and it's from her own moral compass, not the site mothers
Right.
or the Arachessen.
Right. Because in previous chapters, she's like, if I was a good acolyte, I would be doing XYZ, but I'm not doing that. And I should be doing that. So, yes, agreed. Boom. We've made the shift. Back to Atreus. I love even in the spicy beach moment, he calls her Vivi on that. I'm not going to say
Yeah.
what he said. You need to go read it for for yourself. But he calls her Vivi then too. And I'm like, Vivi.
Yes. Yes.
So now they're making their way to the Pethora King and they need to go through kerosene, they decide, right? But then they're like, we don't have enough numbers to do that. So that's when they make their decision to go through the cliffs and the things. Is that right? And
Yeah, like the mountain pass.
yeah. And that's when he brings up, I want you to be my co-ruler. Basically, you talked about that in your remedy last week. And in
Mhm.
that, he even says that's what makes you worthy of power, Vivi. Not Sylina. That was what makes you worthy of power, Vivi. So
Yes.
in
It's
this
true.
moment, hearing her, I keep saying real or true, but I feel like true name from Atreus, and it strikes her deeply because she says this. And when he used my old name, my real name, it was like an arrow right between my ribs, guilt flooding me like hot blood. I wasn't sure what I had done to make him think so highly of me, and I so desperately wanted to be the woman he thought I was. Ugh, love that. And then,
Yes.
so
It
we
makes
see
me
it.
sad that she, like, still feels so guilty.
Yes, right. So also in this moment, we see that continued path of following Atreus because she said in this moment she had decided it all that Atreus was her answer and that she was going to refuse to kill Atreus. She wasn't going to do it. And then it continues because Atreus, she spoke about how he was always willing to sacrifice himself for his people. And she, here, I'm going to read this last part. Atreus was looking at me strangely, his brow furrowed, his thumb swept over my hand, and I realized it was shaking. Vivi, he said softly. That was it, just my name, and in it, the question he didn't ask. I just love the Vivi, calling her Vivi, and the continuation and the reoccurrence and how it's happening more and more. It helps her evolution, in my opinion. So,
Yeah. Atreus is so good because he doesn't force this process
no,
at all for her. He
no,
is so patient and so good at just being there for it,
yes,
however she needs him to be while she figures this out. And I don't know if his life experiences or whatever, I don't know. He's just really, it's good when somebody can be there and support you going through a difficult process like
right.
this
Without
and not.
steering you,
Yes,
right?
he's not steering her one way or the other. Like, I'm sure he has an opinion about what she. I'm sure he's not a big fan of the Arachessen, right? Like,
Right.
he's probably, all missions to kill him aside. But in general, I don't think he likes the Arachessen and what they do. So I just admire that he's able to just, like, support
Yes. Yes.
Vivi and not steer her a certain way. It's good.
Yes. Okay. So I've read a bunch too, and I've rehashed all the things we already knew. So finally, we're at this point. We're at the
Okay.
rooftop scene. Okay. So the freaking site mother has Atreus and
Sight,
Arachessen and all the
mommy.
yes, all these people. She wants Sylina to sacrifice to Acacia. So now we have Acacia and Nyaxia on the roof. And Sylina stops, was it Acacia from killing Atreus by saying, like, I'm the reason. And I think that it's so important to talk about what Acacia says to Sylina here. This is Sylina talking. She regarded me, face stone, the light of her eyes peering through even my most deeply hidden threads. It is useless to offer me false truths, Bibby. Bibby.
Mhm.
She
Mhm.
said, "My heart leapt to my throat. I swear it, my goddess, I. Just as it is useless to offer them to yourself." That single finger slid down over the angle of my chin, lifting it. "So very terrified of that beating thing within your chest. That is the wrong enemy, child." Okay. I have had so many mixed feelings about Acacia, but this moment I was like, I kind of like her. I kind of
Yes.
like her because
Yes.
she's seeing so, and it makes me think too of the site mother. Like, were they really on the same page? Because it doesn't seem like it. And the fact she called her Vivi, she's Sylina, her acolyte, but she's not calling her Sylina, she's calling her Vivi. And that she's
Mhm.
pointing to her chest and being like, that is the wrong enemy. You are not your
Right.
enemy. And so all these people calling her Vivi, she's, finding her true identity. And then Acacia comes and Acacia calls her Vivi too. So this moment, Sylina realizes her true battle has been with herself and it wasn't just the external forces. So I think that that battle of inner self and who you are was my remedy, and her evolving out of that just it really stood out to me. And I know it was a whole stretch of chapters, but that moment I was like, yep, Vivi. Vivi,
No,
Vivi.
I agree. And I love that you took us on that journey to look at her arc and her growth from the beginning and where she
Yes,
was in that rooftop scene at the end, because it is this journey that she goes on, and it's such a beautiful one and a difficult one. And Acacia's quote is dynamite. I mean, it's
hmm
such good advice, and it's something I know that I can relate to. I don't know why, but I feel like there's like this human part of us that worries so much about if we're doing what we're supposed to be doing or what we
yes,
should be doing or what, you know, people pleasing, right? I know that's something a lot of us struggle with.
for sure.
And I feel like that's definitely been a thing for Vivi slash Sylina, is if she's doing what she is supposed to, is she being a good Arachessen? And I love how Acacia tells her to just like listen to her heart. Like, what
Right,
do you think you should be doing? Like, what do you
right,
think?
right.
Like, your heart is not your enemy. Your feelings are not your enemy.
Yeah,
Selena has mentioned several times about how her emotions are
right,
not what they should be. And
right,
that's a great lesson too, that your emotions are just part of you. They're not your enemy. They're gonna happen. Like,
for sure.
don't fight them so
Well,
much. So
and
yeah,
it's
I love this with Acacia.
yeah. Yes, me too. And it's so interesting to me because it is so against what she was taught with the site mother. She was told she shouldn't feel those things or can't remember her past. And Acacia's telling her, you should. Obviously, she's betrayed Atreus, right? And I love it
Yeah.
because he even said, like, I cannot kill you because I know you, Vivi. I was so happy you sent me the bonus chapters because when I was reading those today, there was a moment where he said, I never want to go anywhere without you, Vivi. I hope you know that. And so, yes, I just think that true name and knowing your true self and discovering that and embracing all parts of herself, ourself, past, present, future is huge. So that is my remedy. Thanks for the long ride. The long
No,
ride.
so good, so good. And I'm looking at our outline, and there's a quote that you put in at the end, and I love it so much. So I'm just
Yes.
gonna I'm gonna read
Yes.
it because it's such a good one. She says it's somewhere in all this. It's towards the end, but she says, "Strange how being so exposed can make a soul feel so very safe."
Yes.
And I love that one because we are all afraid of like being totally honest and
Yeah.
authentic sometimes and of exposing ourselves. But when you're able to do that with someone or a group of people, you do feel so safe. Like, it feels so
Yes.
good to be able to do that.
Living
So,
authentically. Yeah, for sure.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, this kind of goes perfectly into what I wanted to share as
Yeah.
my remedy today. And it's the part where Sylina has her meeting with the remaining Arachessen sisters. So after all of that goes down on the rooftop, she and Atreus patch things up, and then she decides to have this meeting around the salt table where they all put their
Yes.
hands on the salt. I like to call it salt circle therapy. um,
Or
she's
trauma. I
understand
don't know.
Yes, yes, I don't know. They're basically just trauma bonding at this point, but she's understandably a little anxious about about this meeting and facilitating this meeting, and Atreus says something that I thought was super funny. He goes, "They'll listen to you. If they don't, we'll just kill them all." And I was like, oh my gosh, and you're funny. I can't with you right now, Atreus. I just can't. That's not really the point of my remedy, but it was too funny not
It's a
to
good one.
slide in here.
Sometimes we feel like that, and it's okay.
It's okay.
It's
We'll
not
just
okay,
kill
but
them
it's
all.
okay.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever. So they gather at the table. I guess old habits die hard because they still place their fingers on the salt, and she shares everything. She talks about the Sight Mother's betrayal. She tells them the truth about the Pethera King and all the things that went down. And then Sylina says this: "But while we can't control our reckoning with the past, we can control our future. The Pethera King, in whatever form he existed, is gone. Now we're left with a broken kingdom that needs us and a world of opportunity of what can be done with the pieces." I drew in a breath and let it out. How long, sisters, has it been since Galea belonged to its people? And there are a few things in that passage that resonated with me. That comment about not being able to change what's happened in the past, but having full control over your future. That's a concept that is really helpful to me when I am struggling. Like, what is in your circle of control? Like, what can you do and what is outside of your circle of control? Basically, what's done is done, right? And
Oh, yeah. That's a hard
there's not
one.
it is. It's so hard, especially, there are some things that just you do feel super guilty about or you really struggle with, wish you could change. But ultimately, like Sylina says, you can't. There's nothing you can do about what's happened in the past, but you can control your future. Like you can control how you respond or what your plan is moving forward. So love that comment from
It
Sylina about
fits,
the future.
yes, I'm so glad you shared it, and it fits last week's affirmation so well about, like, keep moving, like, don't stop moving, like,
Yes, don't stand still, right?
don't stand
Absolutely.
still.
That's
Yes,
pretty much
yeah.
what she's telling all of her Arachessen sisters at this point. And the question she posed right at the end of that quote about how long has it been since Clea belonged to its people,
Yeah.
I thought that was cool. Of course, some of the sisters are resistant to this idea of Atreus
Right.
ruling since he's a vampire. I get
Right.
it. And so Sylina is kind of trying to talk to them about this, and she says, "He isn't Glenn, but he knows what it is to be lost and betrayed by those who are supposed to protect you. He knows this kingdom deserves more just as we do, and our voices are just as powerful as his. I know this is a big question, and I've given you a lot to consider. That's all I'm asking of you, consideration." Again, so many things in these few sentences that I thought were powerful. She's pointing out that him being a vampire and them being human, like their differences don't really matter here. What matters is what they have in common. Atreus understands what it's like to be betrayed, to
Right.
be lost, to be rejected. And he also has a shared vision of what this kingdom could be. And so that idea is highly relevant, I think, in our world. This is not a political podcast, guys, but no matter what political affiliation you have, it's easy to see that we often highlight our differences
Yes.
politically,
Yes.
and otherwise. And it's a shame that we can't be better about seeing what we have in common and what bonds us and what visions we have that are similar for the future. Again, I'm just going to go back to what I said a few episodes ago. Atreus needs to come and be president. Maybe he and
Vote for
Sylina.
that.
Yeah, exactly.
They could be
I
co-rulers.
co-regional managers of the
Yeah.
world, planet Earth. Yeah, I'm here
Yeah.
for it. She says that our voices are just as powerful, and I think that is complimentary of Atreus, that he gives Sylina and the humans and the Arachessen a voice in all the decisions. And I don't
Yes.
think the Arachessen have ever experienced that. They've always
No.
had to like kind of be less than the Sight Mother
Right.
or whatever. They've never been given that chance to have a voice in what's
They've always
happening.
been just told what they're doing, when they're doing, how they're doing it. And yeah, absolutely. Which must be scary
Yeah,
for them too, to feel like so
it's a big change,
yeah,
right?
big change and like not be guided. They have to make a decision for themselves. That would be
Yeah.
hard. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be hard. And I appreciate that kind of at the end of this section, Sylina says, "I'm just asking you to consider it." She's not pressuring them to decide anything. She's not saying they have to agree with her. She's just saying, "Hey, here is what I know, and I want you to think about it." And I think that that is a great approach.
Yes.
So well done, Sylina.
Atreus is rubbing off on her.
Yes, totally. Totally. Such a good point. And speaking of Atreus, after the salt circle therapy session happens, we get that delightful ending chapter where he takes her to the redecorated Thorn
Yes.
Palace and he's turned it all cozy and cute. And in his bedchambers, he created the painting nook and basically
Yes.
invites Vivi to share it with him, and like officially they're going to be a thing, an item.
Yeah.
And so they have this romantic moment, and Sylina says, "But for the first time in my life, I was not afraid. I was at peace with the past, the present, and the future." And I was like, wow, that is so cool, because that does
Yes.
not happen very often, that we are
No.
totally at peace with past, present,
No.
future.
I
I
feel
feel like
like
at some point you're usually worrying about one of those three. So
100%. I'm like, have I ever felt at peace with all three of those? I don't know.
right, right.
When I'm
Like when that does
sleeping.
happen, when I'm sleeping, oh my gosh. I guess that's the ideal we're shooting for, right? Or when we
Right.
talk about like being present in the moment, you're not worrying about the past, you're not being anxious about the future,
Mhm.
you're just appreciating like what is right in front of you. I had a conversation with my coach about this once, and she basically said, whatever you're doing, just be doing that one thing. Like, don't be trying to do something else that has to be preparing for things down the line, and don't be worrying about things that have already happened. Like, just be doing that thing. And I liked that advice, because I think that's what it's about. Like, you're in this one moment, be present in that moment and
Yeah.
be at peace with it. So
Yeah.
anyway, salt
It's a
circle
good
therapy
one.
was Whitney therapy as well. I thought it was great, and
So
that
we
was
can
my
have our
remedy.
salt circle therapy moments from now
Yeah.
on.
I still don't really understand the whole like stick your fingers in a bowl of salt thing, but it's fine. Like, you do what you gotta do, Arachessen. It's cool.
Listen, they did a lot of things that confused me. That was probably the least of my worries. So,
That's true. That's true. Good point. Very good point.
yeah.
Very good point.
Well, are there
Cool.
any characters you would like to express gratitude to this episode?
I cannot remember her name, but there is one Arachessen sister who she's like the youngest one, and
Yes,
she at the beginning had a lot of emotions like Sylina, like she and wasn't being a good Arachessen, and she was
I
actually having
remember.
feelings. But she is
Yeah,
the first one to stand up and offer support for Sylina. So I feel like she deserves some gratitude for being brave and supporting Sylina. So
agreed.
thank you.
That's a good
Think
one.
it's
I
like
like that one.
Yelene or Yareen. It's not Yareen,
Yes,
that's Turnip Glass, but it's something along those
something like
lines.
that. Yeah, I know.
Sorry.
I can see it on the page, but it's not coming out. You know what I mean?
You know who I'm talking
I
about,
do know who
right?
you're talking about. Yep, I remember that moment. Yes, I do.
Oh, funny. Okay, well, I guess that brings us to the end of the main portion of our episode. So thank you
I
so much for
know.
listening and
I
for,
can't believe it's the end of the book. End of the
right?
book.
Oh, and as Kenzie said, there is a bonus chapter. We are going to talk about that in Spoiler Central, because the bonus chapter is not widely available. Like, sometimes with books, you can find the bonus chapters
Right.
online really easily. This is not one of them. And so I didn't want to just talk about it fully in case
Right.
you haven't read it in like a hard copy of the book, because I think that's how you have to read it. I think you have to
Mhm.
find a hard copy of Slaying the Vampire Conqueror and read it in the printed book. So if you haven't done that, don't listen to Spoiler Central. If you haven't, yeah, done that yet. So anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. Look for Romantasy Remedy on TikTok and Instagram. Check the show notes for those links, as well as links to the printable affirmation and soundtrack playlist on
Yeah.
Spotify. We have exhausted all the sleep token songs for this book. There are two that I like towards the end of the playlist. One is Witch Witch by Florence and the Machine, which is a great one about basically like deconstructing your faith and being accused of being a witch and all of those. It's great for this part of
I
her
was like,
like
very fitting.
sticking it to the sight mother and the Arachessen. And then I think I talked about the band Churches already for
Yes, you
this
did.
playlist,
Yeah.
but I put another song on there, and it's called The Mother We Share, which I felt like was perfect for salt circle therapy moment when they're, the sight mother was the mother they shared.
So glad
Um,
she's gone.
yeah, for real. Goodbye, sight mommy. No more of that. But yes, go check out the playlist on Spotify.
Awesome. Thank you. Well, we're really looking forward to connecting with you all and nerding out over all the best romantasy. So, after this, we're going to begin the spoiler central segment of the episode, which you should not listen to if you haven't finished the entire series, including the rest of this book and the bonus chapter. So, this is your warning. You've been warned.
Yes. Warning complete. Let's go into Spoiler Central.
Yes.
So remember, the Sight Mother has been controlling the Pethera King and
Right.
basically just controlling Galea, I guess, and creating all of these conflicts and problems that weren't even there. So
Right.
cool. I stumbled on this quote from Asar in The Fall and the Kiss of Dusk. I was already reviewing his interactions with Atreus and Sylina, and I came across this quote, and it made me think of what the Sight Mother has been doing.
Yeah.
He says, depending on who you asked, the Arachessen were viewed as deranged lunatics, dangerous cultists, or wise sorcerers. They were known to be skilled assassins, but far more dangerous was the organization's habit of manipulating world events to align to what was right, capital R, by the threads of fate, or at least what they claimed to be.
Claim to be specifically.
I thought that was really interesting because apparently other people in this world are aware that the Arachessen manipulate world events to whatever they think they should be. Sylina was not aware, and the other Arachessen sisters were not aware, but people outside of that were. So
which makes you believe that it was even more occult. If other people are aware of what's going inside the Arachessen, which makes me wonder. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, we've kind of been debating about Acacia and like, is she good? Is she bad? We don't know. And Asar's comment here, he says that like they manipulate the events to align with what was right by the threads of fate or what they claimed to be.
Yes.
So maybe it's not always what Acacia says is right. Like maybe they have selfish purposes for what they do.
I'm so glad you said that, because that was exactly where my mind went, was like, I think they claim to be her acolytes or whatever, but didn't we also learn that Misha's mom was a acolyte to Acacia?
Araya's mom.
And it seems, yes, Araya's mom, and not at all like the Arachessen were. So it makes you wonder, are the Arachessen false acolytes?
Yeah.
Like, that's the way it seems anyways, because
that's a great point.
Other ones did not do some of the weird crap they were doing. So
it's so true. It's so true. Well, again, I'm eager to see how Acacia plays out in the Bloodborne duology. So the next point, as Atreus and Sylina are going into the castle to find the Pethera King, they describe how there are white pantheon gods, basically like statues almost, on either side of the steps going up into the castle. And it said, or Sylina says that they are kind of in order of importance, like the hierarchy. As you go up the steps, you're getting to the more important gods and goddesses. So towards the bottom, they saw Vitaris, which remember was the god of abundance and famine. We interacted with him a lot in Six Scorched Roses.
Yeah,
apparently
he was
he's not very important because he's at the bottom. So, and then also there was Ix, the goddess of sex and fertility. She says, Sylina says that she paused halfway up the stairs because it was by Acacia, which just kind of made me have a question. Does that mean Acacia is only halfway in the hierarchy? Because I guess I always thought she was like up higher. I know Atraxis was the leader. Who else is above Acacia? Like Shikit? I still don't know how to say her name.
Oh, the warrior goddess. Sorry, I've got something in my eye.
Yeah, she's like the goddess of justice. So, and
can't
I know
imagine.
She plays a big role in Fallen. Like, she essentially takes over the White Pantheon when Atraxis is killed. So I guess she must be high up in the hierarchy.
But I feel like Acacia's up there with them, or at least up with Shikit.
She's only halfway up the steps, so I don't know.
Interesting.
But some other gods, like, to keep in mind, I don't know if they were mentioned in Slaying the Vampire Conqueror, but there's Xerix, the god of the sea, Kashmar, god of art. I am definitely going to say this one wrong. Ijakai, I don't know. It's spelled Ijakai.
Your guess is as good as mine.
The goddess of animals. And then Sylina, the goddess of machinery. So,
Oh, yeah,
I don't know.
she's a joy. I remember her.
Somebody said that they pictured Sylina. This is so funny. Like, on Toy Story when you go to Sid's house and there's the baby doll head on the spider legs.
Oh,
like,
my gosh. That's even more terrifying than what I had
can't
thought.
unsee it. I can't unsee it. Anyway,
Man.
I just thought that was a little call out to the White Pantheon gods and just an interesting note about their hierarchy. I mean, I want to watch for that a little more in like the Songbird and Heart of Stone and Fall in the Kiss of Dusk and see what else we learn about that.
Yeah, good points.
Thank you. So the next point, Nyaxia and Acacia, let's talk about their interaction. It reminded me a little bit, well, a lot of it actually, of what happens at the end of The Fallen and the Kiss of Dusk. And if you remember, like, all the gods kind of show up at the end of chapter 83. I actually wrote it down for once, chapter 83. And Acacia pretty much says, like, I'm done with this squabble between Nyaxia and the White Pantheon. Like, I'm done with this.
Yes.
And I pretty much expect I'm just going to be at war with all of you very soon. And here is a quote that I wanted to highlight. This is Acacia. She says, "You fight for the eradication of each other, and I fight for the one path that will not end in the destruction of all." So I am becoming like more and more convinced that Acacia is generally good. And that the Sight Mother and the traditions of the Arachessen were not motivated by her. That was, she didn't stop them, but I also don't think that that's necessarily on her. I don't feel like she's somebody that's going to take away their like choices, right? I don't know, just some of the quotes and things we've seen. I feel like I'm convinced more and more that Acacia is trying to do the right thing. She's not being selfish.
Well, she doesn't seem vindictive either, because we know that they have an interaction in that book, but that's obviously after this, where she could be vindictive towards Nyaxia and the vampires for, a multitude of reasons. So, yes, agreed. She does seem, she's getting greener and greener.
Yeah.
You've got the red and the green.
That being said, Sylina says something that makes me like second guess myself all over again. She says that she reflects on how Acacia called her useful. And Sylina says that she thinks Acacia kept her alive for selfish purposes. So, I don't know. You have to remember, too, everything Selena's been through. Like, there's probably some
trauma,
disenchantment with Acacia at this point.
For sure that. Well, I think she's probably still figuring it out. Yeah, because as far as she knows, the Sight Mother was working on Acacia's behalf. We know more than she does right now.
Right. Okay, and then the last point in Spoiler Central before we talk about the bonus chapter, just a quick little observation. Naro says that the vampire healers had helped him immensely.
Yes.
And I could not help but think back to Six Scorched Roses and how it was like Vale's blood that created the cure for the plague in Adkova, and now we've got Naro here who is being healed by vampires, and so I just kind of loved that little connection of how the vampires are able to help cure the humans sometimes. And
do
they coexist with them, help them out. So okay, it is time for Septimus Watch.
This is the moment Whitney's been waiting for all night.
I've had to wait this whole book for a Septimus Watch. Oh my gosh.
Okay, tell me all the things.
So, the bonus chapter, as I mentioned earlier in the episode, is 9 months later. Has nothing to do with pregnancy, apparently, just the number of months. And
you were so excited about that.
Right? And it opens, and Sylina and Atreus and Naro are actually out, like, working, and Arachessen comes to get them, and he's like, "You have a visitor." And Atreus at first is like, "I don't care, like, we're busy." And Arachessen is like, "No, like, you need to come talk to this visitor. He wants to meet with you privately." Atreus has a great line. He goes, "It's nice to want things." He's really just, I could not be bothered. Like, I don't care. And then Arachessen is like, "Dude, it's your cousin. You have to come." So they go and they go to... Yes. They go to meet Septimus, and I wanted to just share some of Sylina's observations about Septimus because it's interesting to get her point of view. She observes that Septimus is much younger than Atreus. I'm not sure what that means in vampire world, but he's much younger than Atreus. She says that his essence is dark and mysterious. Then she says that his soul is like a stone smoothed by wind and rain. So I'm guessing that means he's been through some things.
Yeah, she was basically saying like he's young, but he's very mature, right?
Uh-huh.
Something like
He's
that.
he's seen some stuff.
Yes.
She also says that he's breathtakingly handsome when her man is right there. So that should tell you how handsome he is. And she notes that he has ash blonde hair. So a few things about Septimus. Then Septimus kisses her hand, just like because he's Septimus. And Sylina says
Dove.
that when when there's that like skin on skin touch, that there is a tremor in the threads.
Yes.
And that it was like fate was pulling in all different directions at once. So I just think that Septimus is like a big converging point in the
Yes.
Nyaxia world. I think that things are
Yes.
about to blow up and he's at the
Agreed.
middle of it. So,
Pretty much. It feels like he's like the decision maker on which thread they're walking. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah,
That sounds
there you go.
ominous and amazing. Okay. He says, this just was a very Septimus thing to say, so I'm just going to read it. He says, "Your lack of faith in me wounds." I feel like
Yeah.
that there were other times where he told someone, "Oh, you wound me, Dove."
Yes.
I was like, oh my gosh. And then he tells Atreus, "I'm here because your house calls upon you. Come back to Obitrace." And Sylina is so cute here because she gets very defensive of Atreus.
Yes.
She knows how long he's been waiting to hear those words, and she's immediately suspicious of Septimus and protective of Atreus, and I love that. Then Septimus pulls out this mysterious silver box, and Sylina says that the threads rearrange around it. And when she gets near it, she like has this vision of the future where she sees first a bunch of destruction and then a bunch of wonders and possibilities.
Yes.
So Septimus explains that the gods are preparing for war, and Sylina says, well, that means destruction. And Septimus replies, or perhaps opportunity if one has enough vision. So
I feel like that phrase right there describes everything we know about Septimus so much.
Yes,
Like so far. That's
yes.
Yep, that's
totally.
Septimus.
I agree. We find out that this box is from the House of Shadow. We do know that in The Fall and the Kiss of Dusk, we find out that Septimus has an alliance with the House of Shadow. I do not know. I would have to ask if he's already made that alliance at this point. Obviously, timeline-wise, this is after Ashes.
Yes.
I think, though, that it's still before Fallen because
Agreed.
Atreus is not yet back in Obitrace, and in Fallen, he is in Obitrace. So I'm not sure when he gets this box, and I'm also not sure what's in it. I think something God touched is in there, but I don't know what it is.
I have some suspicions, but I'm sure we'll find out later.
Yeah. We will. I'm sure we will. So as he continues to talk to Atreus and try to convince him to come back to Obitrace, because Atreus understandably is like, oh, like you guys want me to come back now. Cool.
Right.
I've been exiled for however long, and now I'm just welcome back all of a sudden. Septimus says, "We have an opportunity now, a chance to end millennia of bloodborne suffering, but only if we act quickly. You know better than any that we do not have time to waste, and we need you, my friend, you." I did like that he was like, we don't need just like a random general. Like we specifically need Atreus of the Bloodborne to come back. So that was cool. So that pretty much wraps up Septimus Watch because that's the end of the conversation and he leaves. So,
Septimus. He leaves so many questions every time he comes in. It's like,
that's why his book is going to be glorious, and I can't wait for it. So later on, Atreus is asking for Sylina's opinion about everything, and she surprises even herself by saying, you should go. Like, you should definitely go. And then she's quick to say, I'm also coming with you. Not gonna miss this. And she says that Galea will be the first pawn to be swept off the board. And I had not thought about that before. Like, the epilogue of Fallen, Septimus is talking about how the human nations are pretty much a mess from the
Right.
war. And I'm like, is Galea okay? Like, what,
Right.
did it
No,
get
I
just
thought
like
the
blown
same
up?
thing. Yep. Me too.
So yeah, I'm curious. And then I loved this quote from Sylina at the end of the bonus chapter. She goes, Atreus and I would never have the luxury of bowing out of the hard conflicts, and I would fight to the end for him, for us, for the people who had entrusted us with their lives, even if it meant going up against the gods themselves. So she is
Yes.
like the most perfect addition to this Bloodborne team because she is
Yes.
like, yes, like screw the gods. Let's
Yep.
like take them all down. I'm
Yep.
done.
Yep.
So it'll
So
be
good.
interesting. I feel like Rain and Araya and Misha and Asar probably feel like indebted to Acacia, like they've sworn alliance to her.
Right.
Whereas Atreus and Septimus and Sylina are at a different point in their journey where they're like, no, like we're just done. We're like done with the
Right.
gods in
Right.
general. Like we're done. So I'm just very curious to see how this all plays out. It's gonna
I
be
am
crazy.
too. And like you said with Acacia, there's a lot of at the beginning of Slaying the Vampire Conqueror, she was definitely a suspect to me. And I was like, I don't think so. And then she has a lot of green flags where you're like, okay, yeah, maybe. But then at the same time, it's like so far, every single god that we've met and we've had interactions with, there has been nothing completely transparent with them. There is always a what's the word?
Kind of
Ulterior
like,
motive.
yes, exactly.
So,
Exactly. And I don't know. I don't know if Acacia has ulterior motives. I wonder if her lack of transparency is that because she's the goddess of fate, she doesn't seem to be somebody who she acknowledges that there are several paths and options. Like there
right,
are choices. She's not just a fortune teller who's like, oh, let me look at my crystal ball and tell you what's
right,
going to happen. She acknowledges the role of free will in all of
right.
this. And
And maybe
so I
that's why she doesn't come
wonder.
across as transparent, is because she doesn't
Yes,
know
that's
either. Yeah.
exactly what I'm getting at. I
Yeah.
wonder if that's why she comes across as a little vague, not transparent, is
Yeah.
because like there's still free will in all of this. So,
Right. Interesting
but
thought.
she seems like she's trying to preserve that. Like she's trying to make it where no one is just being taken out
Right.
or having their ability to make choices taken away. Like she's trying to make it where people can exist freely.
Right.
So, I don't
Yes.
know. That's my perception of her right now. Let's read The Songbird and Heart of Stone and Fall in the Kiss of Dusk
Yeah.
and see how it goes.
Yes, I'm excited for the reread of those because there is so much interaction with her in Falling in the Kiss of Dusk.
Yes, that's
Um,
correct.
They're long titles. There's so much
They are.
interaction with her in that book and even some side characters that are very closely tied to her that the reread will be interesting.
Yes, for sure. For
Yeah.
sure.
But
All
anyway,
right. Well, that officially wraps up Slaying the Vampire Conqueror.
yes, by
Atreus,
Atreus.
it has been real. My goodness. Oh, loved
Yes,
every moment of this reread.
it was
So
great.
awesome.
Yes.
So good. So many good affirmations and lessons and remedies.
Yeah.
Love this book. Love it.
Very good.
Thank you,
Yep.
Kenz, for having this
Thanks,
book chat
Whit.
with me, for bringing
Yes.
me to the Atreus team.
Yes.
And thanks, everybody, for listening. Excited to get into The Songbird and the Heart of Stone.
Yes. That's a
And
good one.
Misha.
And Misha,
Yeah.
yep. Misha and
And Asar.
Asar. We all get to
And
meet
Luce.
Asar now. Oh,
Yes.
Loose. Yay. Not Lucy.
Yeah.
Loose.
That's our personal opinion about it.
Yeah.
Loose. All right. I'm sure that's going to come up again, so we'll leave it at that. But
Yes.
thank you. Have a good one.
Bye.